Hi guys, it's Beyond You podcast here again. Thank you for always coming back. So we've been talking about identity and who you are beyond what life has shown you and whose voices you've been believing. Today, I want us to talk about something many of us have carried for years without even realizing it. Labels. Not the ones on your clothes, the ones that were put on you. Think back for a second. Was there ever a moment, maybe at home, maybe in school, maybe from someone who was supposed to love you well, when someone said something about you that just stuck? Maybe they called you too much, too loud, too sensitive, too quiet, too aggressive, too weak. Maybe they called you the difficult one, the black sheep. If I start talking about how many times people have told me I talk too much, let's not even go there. Maybe nobody said anything to you directly, but you felt it in the way they treated you, in the way they looked at you, in what they did not say. And somewhere along the way, without signing up for it, you started wearing that label like it belonged to you. You started seeing yourself through it, making decisions from inside it, living within the limits of it. That is what labels do. They don't just describe you, they start directing you. Here is something I've learned. Labels are often given by people who are dealing with their own struggles. These people have their own struggles too. The person who called you too much may have never been given enough space themselves. That person who told you that you will never become what you dreamed of becoming may have given up on their own dreams. The friend who made you feel small may have felt small too, but somewhere along the way, we took those labels and turned them into identity. And that is where the problem begins. Because a label is not your identity. A label is simply someone's limited perception of you at a particular moment in time. It was never the full picture. In Isaiah chapter 62 verse 2, God says He will give you a new name. A name spoken by His own mouth. Not the name your past gave you. Not the name people called you. Not the name that painful season made you believe. A new name from Him. That means God has always reserved the right to define you. No label placed on you by anyone else has the final authority over your life. You know how products sometimes get mislabeled? I remember buying what I thought was Bama, the popular mayonnaise. Later I realized it was another brand that had simply been rebranded. What I saw on the outside was not the full story, was not the content of the mayonnaise. And honestly, that is what happened to many of us. We got mislabeled. People placed labels on us that was never truly represented who we were. Then others, and sometimes even we ourselves, started relating to us based on those labels. But the manufacturer knows what is inside. God knows exactly what He puts inside of you. He's not confused by the labels people attached to you. He sees beyond the packaging. He sees what is really in there. So I want to speak to the person who has been living inside a label that was never theirs to wear. The one who was called too sensitive and learned to shut down their emotions. The one who was called a failure and stopped trying. The one who was called difficult and started believing they were the problem in every room. The one who was called too loud and learned to make themselves small. I've been there too, actually. There were moments when I wanted to stay quiet because people thought I did too much. But every time I tried to shrink myself, it felt like I was hiding a part of who God created me to be. That was not me. And maybe that is not you either. That label was never a prophecy. It was never your identity. It was someone else's opinion. And you don't have to keep carrying it. God's word about you is louder than any label. And His word says, you are chosen, loved, known, and created for a purpose. That is the truth. So let's do something together. Think about the labels that have followed you. The ones spoken out loud. The ones you only felt. Think about how long you've carried them. Think about what they've cost you, the opportunities you avoided, the confidence you lost, the version of yourself you kept hiding. Now say this with me or write it down somewhere. I am not what I was called. I am not the label that followed me. The words spoken over me by people do not define my future. God knows my name, and His name for me is good. I release every label that was never mine to carry. I am renewed. I am free. I am who God says I am. Those labels, they lose their power the moment you stop agreeing with them, to be very honest. Thank you for being here. This is Beyond You, and I'll see you next time.